Hi everyone, and welcome to another Civilization 7 video. So I recently talked about difficulty in Civilization 7, especially in the context of deity and immortal to some extent. And I talked about some of the bonuses the AI gets. In this video, I wanted to show you and talk a bit about some of the biggest advantages the human player will get over the AI. And again, especially in the context of deity and immortal, and specifically in the context of war. So you might or might not already be familiar with the army commanders in Civilization 7. If you're not, they are basically supercharged great generals in a sense. You can attach a number of regular units to them, and they will move together as one unit. And more importantly, you do not get experience in Civilization 7 on your regular military units. You only get experience on army commanders. And an experienced army commander is insanely powerful. This is the key advantage the human player will have over the AI. Because a high-level army commander, and you can have multiple army commanders, will be ridiculously powerful, but in order to actually get him to high level, you need to keep him alive. I know that sounds obvious, but those of you who played Civilization 5 a lot, for example, know that one of the biggest advantages the human player had in Civilization 5 was your ability to keep your units alive and stack a lot of promotions on them. So that way you could get, for example, ranged or siege units with +1 range and logistics, and then you can simply wreck the AI. But the AI was never really able to get these promotions because the AI was not able to keep their units alive long enough to get enough experience to get there. And this principle very much still applies in Civilization 7. It just applies to army commanders as opposed to your regular units. An experienced army commander is ridiculously powerful, and I want to show you some examples of that in this video. Now, I can't show you actual gameplay until February because I'm not allowed to, but I can show you static screenshots. So here's a level 9 army commander from one of my most recent games. This was from late exploration age. And he was just one of many, he just happened to be my most experienced one. And if we open the detailed information about him, I can show you exactly what makes them so strong. So here's the army commander panel with a bunch of information. Here you can see the level and the experience that I currently have. So I'm at 50 out of 75 required for the next level. And you can get experience pretty quickly if you're fighting an active war. One single action of your unit can give you 3, 4, 5 experience just for one single attack on the enemy. The units you are attacking with do have to be right next to your commander in order to grant the experience to the commander. And as you can see, you have 5 different trees with various abilities you can pick up, and a lot of these abilities are pretty damn good on their own, but the truly important part that makes army commanders really powerful is this part down here, Commendation points. The way you get Commendation points, as you might have already guessed, is by finishing one of these trees. When you get the final ability, one of these down here, you get a Commendation point. And you can spend the Commendation point on one of these special abilities down here. And I will show you exactly what they are and what they do. All 5 of them are pretty damn powerful, by the way. So let's go from right to left. First we got Order, which is +5 combat strength for land units within the command radius. Now normally, your command radius is 1 tile, meaning all of the tiles directly next to the commander. However, the next ability right here, the second one is Merit, which is +1 command radius range. And as you could see on the screenshot right at the start of this video, that was my army commander with +1 command radius range, this exact one, which means it extends 2 tiles in every direction. And if I have Order on top of that, like I do have over here, every single unit up to 2 tiles away from the army commander gets +5 combat strength. That makes this guy really damn powerful, and I didn't even show you all of the abilities I have in assault and logistics. So next up, we got Service, which is +1 movement for land units within the command radius. This is also pretty damn good. All 5 of these Commendation point abilities are really damn good. They are just different. They are good in different situations. And you can combo them together as well. You can get 2 of them by the end of Exploration Age pretty easily. If you're fighting a lot of wars in Antiquity Age, you could maybe even get level 9 in Antiquity Age. I think you could. So next up we got the Duty, which means you gain the Heroic Assault ability, and you can deal direct damage to a unit in the command radius that has the same domain as the commander. So in this case, any land unit. Because you could also have a naval commander, for example. And then we have Valor, which means you gain a second win ability, which can grant a land unit within the command radius 1 extra attack and restores 2 movement points. So I don't think I have to tell you how powerful this is. I've been using this quite a lot on my siege units, for example, and that makes city sieges so much easier. But you can use this in a variety of different ways. You can use it on a unit that has already attacked an enemy and cannot move anymore to withdraw that unit. It has a lot of different uses. Furthermore, if you have 2 or more army commanders close to each other, all these benefits can be used simultaneously. So if they overlap, I could have this army commander who grants +5 combat strength to anything within 2 tiles radius, and I could have a different army commander who has Valor. And as it happens, in the war that I finished fighting before the screenshot was taken, I had another army commander with Valor, and I was granting extra attacks to all kinds of units. And then you also could have a third army commander with Service. I'm sure you can see where I'm going with this. So these guys are insanely powerful, and this is the number 1 key advantage the human player will have over the AI. At least when it comes to war. Once you get some experienced army commanders going, war against the AI is so much easier, it's not even funny. Keep in mind though, you do have to keep them alive, and they do have their own combat strength and health, so they do not die instantly the moment somebody attacks them, like great generals do in Civilization 5, for example. You do actually have to put in some effort into killing them, just like you would kill a regular unit. But if you don't protect them, they can go down pretty quickly if they get focus fired. And as you might have guessed, the AI is not particularly good at keeping them alive. And then, on top of Commendations, you can get all these other abilities in the trees in the middle. I can show you the final one of each tree. So, starting from Bastion, you have Resolute, which means all land units within the command radius heal for 5 HP after attacking. Then we have Assault, which grants you advancement. Infantry and cavalry units within the command radius have the first strike ability, which grants +5 combat strength when at full health. Then we have Logistics with survival training. Land units within the command radius gain the commando ability. Terrain combat bonuses are doubled, and the infantry units can move and attack through cliffs. Then we have Maneuver with area denial. The command radius applies zone of control to enemy land units. So this can be particularly good if you have +1 command radius that we talked about just a minute ago from Commendation points. And finally we have a leadership tree with 2 of them, Barrage, which is +5 combat strength for all land units attacking when using the Focus Fire Commander ability. The Focus Fire ability basically commands all of the ranged units within the command radius to attack one target if able to, and they will get a small combat bonus when doing so. Then we have Onslaught, which is +5 combat strength for all units attacking when using the Coordinated Attack Commander ability. Coordinated attack is basically the same thing as Focus Fire, but for melee units. So you command them to attack one selected target if they are able to, and they get a small combat bonus while doing so. And also, just to be clear, I'm not saying the final ability in each of these trees is the only one that's worthwhile. Quite the opposite, in fact. There are quite a few really good ones. I just don't want to go over every single one separately, but I will give you a few really quick examples. The very first ability in Assault is Initiative, which means that the units can move after unpacking from the commander, which normally they cannot. After you unpack all of the units, they exhaust all of their movement points. But with Initiative, they do not. And this is the very first ability you can pick up literally at level 2. Then, the second ability in the Bastion tree is Bulwark, which means that land units within the command radius complete fortifications one turn faster. And the temporary fortifications are quite powerful. They give you +6 combat strength when defending. One interesting thing you can do with temporary fortifications in Civilization 7 is build the temporary fortifications with one unit, then once it's done, you can move out with that unit and move in with a different unit, and the fortifications will still be there. You're not fortifying that one specific unit, you are building temporary fortifications on that specific tile. And the third quick example is the very first ability in Maneuver, which is Mobility, which grants this commander +1 movement while on land and allows him to ignore terrain movement restrictions when packed. So that allows you to move your army attached to this particular commander much faster. So the bottom line of this video is, the army commanders will be the #1 greatest advantage the human player will have against the AI. If you can keep them alive, it will make your life so much easier, regardless of whether you are playing offensively or defensively. I have around 100 hours in the game now, and my most recent game was on Immortal, where I was testing a new strategy, and I was fighting a war for probably more than half of Exploration Age. And while it started out a little bit rough with 2 AIs teaming up against me and attacking me simultaneously, towards the end of that war, when I got a lot of experience on my 3 army commanders, I was basically steamrolling the AI. It wasn't even close. And army commanders are particularly important because in Civilization 7, you can only gain a technological advantage over the enemy to a certain extent, because of the ages are completely separated. You cannot go into the next age and start researching technologies from the next age while you are in the previous age. So you are not able to beeline for military technologies the same way you were able to in Civilization 5, 6, and all of the other Civilization games prior to that. You can gain a technological advantage for your army over your opponent, but it stops where the age stops. You cannot go past that point. Which means the potential for said advantage is smaller than it has ever been before, which makes the army commanders that much more important. So with all that said, in the context of army commanders being this powerful and this important, you can probably see why the AI actually needed a +8 combat bonus for difficulty on a deity and a +5 on Immortal. These are some really big combat bonuses, don't get me wrong. And if you combine them with the ward support mechanic, which can penalize your combat strength, you can have a pretty rough time. But if you get a few army commanders going, you can easily swing that war in your favor. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say in this video, so I hope you enjoyed it, I hope you found it informative, leave a like if you did, and subscribe for more Civilization 7 videos in the future. Thanks for watching, I will see you next time.